condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man will go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
We get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so with that all being said, let's get ready to get black into it. All right, let's see who's in here. Hey, Chris B, Trisha, Reggie, Claudette, G from the Land, Mr. Elevation, 57 Beige Fox, Lillian X, Love Christy. All right, let's get into it. Juju. Lady Painter is here. Okay, 504 Nola. All right, shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. And a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. I see you, Betty Booth, Claudette. All right, Lillian X, Edwa L, Marie. Okay, so let's get into it. But before we do, hey, Cherokee's Descended Dale. Before we get into it, let's have a brief word from our sponsor. Hey, Pretty Wings. Hey, Ashgod at 12 Tribes. All right, here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so with that all being said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find her products at Walmart.com. And please don't forget that she also sells beard oil. Okay, now with that all being said, we're going to be live again, folks, at 12:30. I just put the link in the chat. Live again at 12:30. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it because Trump has lost his mind. Okay, and so have the rest of the minions, clearly. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it because he's out here making all kinds of nefarious threats to Iran. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
A lot going on. I'll try to be fast. So Iran now has directly instructed the Houthi to close the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. And reportedly, the Houthi are waiting to do this once the U.S. strikes Iran's power infrastructure, which, if you remember or if you didn't know, Trump did threaten to do this starting next week. And Iran's IRGC did warn that if the U.S. did target Iranian infrastructure, Iran will, quote, bring the Arabs back to camels and sandals, which sounds like a sentence I shouldn't even be saying, but that's what they said. They also said they would destroy every infrastructure in the region like it never existed. Quick side note, according to the CIA director, the average life expectancy for a Russian soldier entering Ukraine is 20 to 30 minutes. Explosions were being reported on the Iran-Iraq border today, while over 10 U.S. refueling aircraft were recorded over the region. I'm not even sure if I can mention this next part, but here we go. So it's not been reported that the U.S. struck 3 bridges in Iran. They definitely didn't strike this overpass that connects Bandar Abbas to Lar. And there definitely weren't cars on this bridge when it was struck, leaving 1 without their life and multiple injured. No reports of that. There's also no reports of this bridge being struck, leaving 1 without their life and several injured as well. No reports. Also no reports of a railway station west of Bandar Abbas being struck, as well as no reports of a commercial airport being struck in southeastern Iran. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. There's reports of Iran striking the King Fahd Causeway, as well as more strikes from Iran on Kuwait and Bahrain U.S. military bases. There's definitely no reports of the U.S. seizing an Iranian ship in the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. did destroy this control tower in Iran, and Pete Hegseth even tweeted about it. And not to be too political, I don't personally like any of these guys, but I'm sure you heard what Trump had to say about the voting thing today, right? So I don't want to beat a dead horse with that, but I did find it interesting that Kamala Harris did tweet that the Save America Act is voter suppression. If you didn't know, the Save America Act is essentially that everyone needs identification to vote in the United States. And let's say voting matters, right? So if Kamala Harris is saying that that act is voter suppression, and you agree with that, can you please let me know? I'm trying to work my mind around how that is voter suppression. I feel like we need accurate data if voting matters. Am I crazy? Before you label me as being a part of a side, I don't like any of these guys. I'm the silent minority that sees through this nonsense. But here's an interesting quote from our favorite, whatever you want to call her.
You know, the only other adversary of ours who's anywhere near as good as the Russians is China. So why should Russia have all the fun? And since Russia is clearly backing Republicans, why don't we ask China to back us?
I hereby tonight ask China.
That's right. And not only that, China, if you're listening, why don't you get Trump's tax returns? I'm sure our media would richly reward you.
But stay safe. I appreciate you.
No, she didn't ask them to get Trump's tax returns. Okay, absolutely nefarious. All right, hold on. Let me get to this comment. Did anyone see the huge mural in Iran of the Nod father, Trump in a casket? I didn't see that. But thanks for letting us know because I'll absolutely be looking for it. D Major said this guy's giving I can't say that, but you know who I'm talking about. Those vibes. Well, maybe, but he's telling facts. All they have is conspiracy theories. Okay, so likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Now, let's get into it because Iran has warned the United States of the Hormuz red line. Okay, says that they will retaliate if Trump dares to carry out his nefarious threats. Okay, so let's get into it. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share.
Command warning this morning that if the U.S. follows through on threats to target Iranian infrastructure, that it will respond by destroying, quote, all the infrastructure in the region. The spokesperson for Iran's military also warning that under no circumstances would the U.S. be allowed to interfere in the Strait of Hormuz. They called it Iran's invincible red line. And this comes after President Trump on Tuesday told Fox News that he's planning to knock out Iran's power plants and bridges next week unless the Iranians come to the table to negotiate. And it all underscores now the new stage that the U.S. and Iran are in. 5 straight days at this point of U.S. attacks across Iran, including several waves yesterday, some of which you're seeing here. We're expecting possibly more strikes coming today. The U.S. blockade is also now back in place, and the U.S. military fired on an oil tanker bound for Karg Island late yesterday. And threats are ramping up on both sides. Reuters reports this morning that Iran has asked the Houthis in Yemen to shut down the Red Sea oil route if the U.S. were to strike Iran's power infrastructure. That's the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, the primary alternative to the Strait of Hormuz. And the report is according to 3 unnamed sources, but it shows, guys, how this latest back and forth between the U.S. and Iran is now threatening to spill out much more broadly to the rest of the region, and how the impact on global energy markets could still get much worse from here. Iran's top military command warning this morning that
Now, I find it absolutely nefarious. Okay? All crazy. And Trump's sitting up here talking about if they don't comply, basically he's going to strike their power plants and bridges. This is all getting worse by the day, and I was hoping this war would have been over with by now. We still don't know exactly how many people are deceased. Okay, they're still lying about that. Are we supposed to still think that it's only about 13? Please pay attention. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Now let's talk about what's going on with these in Tehran.
The United States has struck Iran for a 6th consecutive night. Tehran is now heading back at U.S. allies across the Gulf. Kuwait says it is responding to missile and drone threats, while air raid sirens were activated in Bahrain. Now, U.S. Central Command says it launched a fresh wave of strikes on Thursday night aimed at further degrading Iran's military capabilities. Iranian state media reported strikes on an airport, a railway station, as well as 2 bridges. According to Iranian official claims, strikes on 2 bridges in Hormuzgan province killed 3 people and wounded 9 others. Another report said 3 explosions were heard around Iran Shahr airport, with at least 1 U.S. projectile allegedly hitting the facility. Now, Iranian state television also reported 2 explosions in Bushehr, home to Iran's only civilian nuclear power plant, along with an attack on a railway station in Bandar Abbas. Hours later, Kuwait announced it is responding to missile and drone threats. In Bahrain, the Interior Ministry said air raid sirens had been activated, urging residents to take shelter. Iranian state media claimed the country's military was targeting U.S. aircraft at an airbase in Bahrain. Tehran had earlier warned it will target regional infrastructure if the United States carry out threats to attack Iran's infrastructure.
Should the recent threats by the President of the United States to target the infrastructure of the Islamic Republic of Iran be carried out by that country's aggressive military, then everything that, due to Iran's restraint, has so far remained intact, namely all infrastructure in the region, will be crushed under the steel blows of the powerful armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran, to such an extent that no trace of them will remain, as though they had never existed.
Earlier, U.S. forces boarded a ship in the Gulf of Oman as part of Washington's renewed blockade of Iranian ports. U.S. Central Command also said 3 vessels attempting to circumvent the blockade had been intercepted and redirected since the measure was reimposed amid renewed hostilities. Meanwhile, the White House said that President Trump remains open to diplomacy with Iran, adding that Washington is still talking to Tehran despite the renewal of hostilities.
System. They are not the once very strong, powerful terrorist state that they were before this operation, which was one of the ultimate goals. So we'll continue to work through the process. And as I said, the president will hold them accountable when they turn their back on the words that they state to the United States. But he is always open to diplomacy at the very same time.
Meanwhile, Yemen's Houthi rebels have warned they could target Saudi Arabia's oil facilities and other critical infrastructure if the conflict continues to escalate. The warning comes just days after strikes hit the airport in the rebel-held capital of Sana'a.
Ashkan says not a single ship's captain has heard of greasing the deck. All right. Americans have to be the most stupid or willfully ignorant people on the planet as all righteous are being taken away. Well, you know what? What's crazy to me is that so many people are supporting Trump and his shenanigans. Okay, it is absolutely crazy. And I'm talking about the people who don't look like me because clearly most of us have better sense, I would hope. Okay, please pay attention. All nefarious. Now, here's the thing. Someone sent me this. I literally just found this. Hold on. Let me see what this is here. They're saying that a Marine who's running for Congress says that President Donald Trump must be killed, prompting swift condemnation from the Marine Corps. That's crazy. So he literally came out and said that. Let's get into it. So the U.S. Marine Corps has publicly condemned and distanced itself from Florida congressional candidate and former Marine William Upham after he posted a social media video declaring that President Donald Trump must be killed. The remarks prompted a direct response from the Corps, which stressed that Upham's comments violate the values expected of Marines and do not represent the military branch. He says we're led by a president who's the enemy of God. Now, in the lengthy video posted on X, Upham said that he decided to seek public office to challenge Washington insiders and repair what he described as a broken political system. He says, I've reached a turning point in my campaign. Why? I've come to the realization that our country is broken. We are led by a president who's the enemy of God, and President Trump will never bring us together like God intended. He also criticized both major political parties, saying that violence should never be used for evil purposes such as vengeance or plunder, and that we must defend ourselves against all enemies. Upham then escalated his rhetoric, saying, there is no doubt in my mind that the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, is the Antichrist. He is a false Messiah, and he is your enemy, and he must be killed. Do y'all hear this? Do you all hear this? This is so crazy. Little X said, your vision, Queen. Exactly. They haven't arrested this man. They likely will. You know, you can't say anything nefarious about Trump and get away with it. And so Upham said that he'd reached his conclusion regarding the president after Trump criticized Pope Leo XIV and shared an AI-generated image of himself in a Christ-like manner. He says he is nothing like Jesus Christ. President Trump is the Antichrist, and he will be killed and sent to hell. God will prevail against evil. Woo, honey, do y'all hear this? Sounds like he wants all the smoke, but what I will say is this. Ashkan said, but is it illegal to say that? Well, you know, they could take that as a threat, beloved. I mean, people have been in trouble on social media for saying much less. Trust me, especially in recent months. Now, you know, I do think that Trump is absolutely the Antichrist. I mean, I absolutely think that he has the Antichrist spirit, and I've already shown you all why I think that. And I also found it interesting when they called them. Hold on, somebody just sent me something interesting. Yeah, so I find it interesting that Satan Yahoo and his people called Trump the Prince of Peace. Now that's what we call Jesus, but they called Trump the Prince of Peace. And don't y'all find that interesting? Because you know it talks about the Antichrist, the false Messiah, and you know how they would be called that. Okay. Anyway, with that all being said, let's continue. Like, sub, everyone, please like and share. Yeah, this is real crazy. According to the Florida Division of Elections, Upham qualified on June 9th as a write-in candidate for Florida's 5th Congressional District. Now, the seat is currently held by Republican Representative John Rutherford and includes parts of Jacksonville, Ponte Vedra Beach, and St. Augustine. And so they say, hold on, these pop-ups. So they say in a statement posted to X, the Marine Corps said it was aware of the disturbing statements made by William Upham and emphasized that the comments are a direct violation of the oath he swore to uphold and are not in keeping with the service's values. The Corps has also noted that Upham was medically discharged on May the 30th of 2025, making clear he is no longer affiliated with the service. Acting Secretary of the Navy Hung Kao echoed that message on Tuesday, July the 14th, writing on X that this is unacceptable. William Upham is no longer a Marine and does not represent our values or ethos. Well, all right. I wonder what Trump has to say about this. Now, while Upham's comments drew swift condemnation from the Marine Corps and senior Navy leadership, the incident has intensified concerns about inflammatory political language. Notably, officials across the political spectrum continue to warn that rhetoric appearing to encourage or justify violence can create a dangerous environment. Concerns regarding Upham's comments are especially grave because the president has already been the target of several assassination attempts, most recently at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in April of 2025. Wow, it doesn't seem like it's been that long ago. Okay, so anyway, I just find it all interesting. I find it all interesting. Now, hold on. Listen to this, you guys. Someone just sent me this. Truth over everything. Shout out to you, beloved. Thank you for sending me this. But listen to this. Says they're mostly bombing where the Black Iranians are located. Okay? Y'all hear that? Let's get into it. So they're targeting the darker skinned. Okay? I find it all interesting. I find it all interesting. Black Urban says, Queen, do you use PayPal? Yes, I do, beloved. I'll put it in the chat in just a moment.
Been carpet bombing Iran for the past couple of nights, and the reason why you don't know about it is because they're carpet bombing the south of Iran, not the metropolitan areas like the capital, Tehran, or Shiraz. They are bombing the south of Iran, where the majority of Afro-Iranians live, where the majority of ethnic minorities like Lurs and Kurds live. It's not as conversational, right? Then, oh, the capital is getting bombed, or oh, Shiraz is getting bombed. And one person, I love her content, her name's Ciara, she just posted this, and she essentially made the argument that she believes that America is doing this so that it doesn't get as much attention, so that they can make the same Southern Lebanon argument, right? Like, oh, Southern Lebanon is not the same as Lebanon. It always gets bombed, right? When no, you guys should care about Southern Lebanon too when Southern Lebanon gets bombed. I fully agree. I think America is now specifically targeting the south of Iran because they know that it's not going to get as much coverage. They know it's not going to get as much empathy because the minorities occupy south of Iran. But the minorities matter. The minorities matter, and America is still committing egregious war crimes in the south of Iran, and they matter just as much as the people that live in Tehran too. America has been carpet bombing Iran for the past couple of nights.
Okay, absolutely egregious. Absolutely egregious. But you know, there's some Black people, Black MAGA specifically, who swear that Trump and his administration are not racist. Okay, these people have to be insidiously obtuse as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they absolutely have to be. With that all been said, let's talk about this new civil rights division of the DOJ. Let me just show you all a picture of them. Let me just show you all a picture of them. And here they go right here. Here they go right here. Y'all see that? That's your new civil rights division, folks. That's them. Not a Black person in sight. Okay? Not a Black person in sight. Now let's talk about it. This is horrible. DOJ proudly drops new civil rights division photo. Then the internet starts counting the Black faces, and three things blow the whole story apart. So the Justice Department expected its latest Civil Rights Division class photo to showcase more than 100 newly hired attorneys and staff now tasked with enforcing some of the nation's most important anti-discrimination laws. Instead, the image quickly drew scrutiny as viewers noticed what they believed was missing almost immediately. Remarkably, few appeared to be Black, turning the image into the latest flashpoint in an already heated debate over who is shaping the federal government's approach to civil rights. And y'all still want to vote for the Republicans or sit on the couch? You have to be crazy as far as I'm concerned. The scrutiny followed a social media post Wednesday by Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon, who oversees the Civil Rights Division. Now, alongside a photo showing a sea of white employees with what appeared to be only 2 people of color and no Black men, this is what Dillon wrote, saying, "Honored to swear in 100 plus new attorneys and staff to our ranks today. These civil rights warriors will enforce our nation's laws to benefit all Americans, not just a select few. It's a privilege to have them on board." Now, I want you to pay attention to what they said. These civil rights warriors will enforce our nation's laws to benefit, and they capitalize, put in all caps, all Americans, not just a select few. It's a privilege to have them on board. So what are they trying to say? That they don't have any Black people because they were only supporting Black folk? Now, they say hold on. Is this it? Okay, I'm trying to figure out what this is they're saying about Tiffany Haddish and what she has to do with this. It says, who the hell? Tiffany Haddish's brutal joke about Trump triggers White House meltdown. Her unfiltered response only makes it worse, saying he is going to hate this. Trump tries to play it cool, carefully watching his every step, unaware that world leaders behind him are going viral for their priceless reactions. Ha! What in the world's going on? Now, the photographs surfaced just one day after Dillon sent letters to at least 10 states warning top election officials they could face criminal prosecution. Do y'all hear this? Criminal prosecution if non-citizens were allowed to cast ballots or remain on voter rolls, and adding that federal monitors are being deployed for upcoming elections. So let me tell you what this is all about. You all know Trump is so desperate. I told you all they're so desperate, the Republicans, to win the midterms because they already know. They already know that they're going to jail. Now remember, MAGA Mike the other day said that if the Democrats win the midterms, they're going to immediately start the impeachment process, and people are going to go to jail. They're going to start investigations. Yeah, as they should. Okay, as they should, because these Republicans, aren't y'all the ones in the Epstein files, specifically Trump? Okay, aren't y'all the ones committing war crimes, specifically Trump and Keg's Brett? All right. So anyway, they're going to criminally prosecute these people. The letters are part of Trump's administration's broader effort to tighten election rules, despite there being no evidence of widespread voting in U.S. elections, by non-citizens. It should be voter fraud. Okay, they have a typo. Anyway, Dillon warned state officials, saying any election officer, including the chief election officer of the state, who knowingly retains non-citizens on the state's voter list or facilitates non-citizens in receiving and casting ballots, could be subject to criminal liability. Now, the letters requested that election officials respond within 5 days, explaining how their states intended to comply with this federal law. But that focus stood in stark contrast to the Civil Rights Division's stated mission of enforcing federal laws prohibiting discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, disability, and national origin. Meanwhile, the image of the new Civil Rights Division staff quickly drew criticism from social media users who questioned whether a workforce with so little visible racial diversity could effectively understand the experiences of communities facing discrimination. Of course they can't. Okay, please make it all make sense. Many online questioned whether that mission could be carried out effectively, asking how advocates could represent people whose lives or whose lived experiences were unfamiliar to them. One person wrote saying, yeah, this is pretty much how I figured your team would look. It's just amazing how little you care about appearances. Others couldn't get past the racial makeup of the group. Now, 2 Black women and no Black men and 98% white people, they say if this one single act does not show you that you need to bear arms, form alliances, and be ready to kill on command, nothing effing else will. That's what somebody said. I guess the FBI will be at their door soon. Because again, they've gone to look for people for social media comments for less. Another person on the same thread tried to defend the hiring decisions, asking maybe they were the best candidates. Maybe there were minimal Black and Hispanic candidates available. There are 60% white people in the U.S. Black Americans who hold at least a bachelor's degree number approximately 8.68 million people. But why make it about race? Isn't that what racist people always say? Now, other critics viewed the image as symbolic of broader changes taking place within the department under President Donald Trump, saying it reflected what they see as an administration increasingly hostile to policies benefiting minority communities. Let me tell y'all something. I have long been telling you all, and some of you don't seem to remember or seem to care, but I have been telling you all Trump's trying to take us back. Okay, he's already taken us back to Jim Crow. We are absolutely living in Jim Crow 2.0. And if you don't think that slavery's ready, if you don't think that's what they want next, I don't know what to tell you, because it absolutely is. Okay, it absolutely is. Now we're going to get into that in just a second, but before we do, let's go to this clip of Ayanna Presley just going in. And I'm here for all of it.
Not one good reason. You claim, you avow that you are a self-proclaimed Christian nationalist, so I'm sure you spent some time in Sunday school.
That's a pejorative.
I'm sorry, did you happen upon a scripture that said, thou shalt make their neighbor poorer, hungrier, sicker, and less safe? That's actually what you've done. I didn't ask you to speak. This makes no sense. You are as incompetent as you are cruel and callous. Seriously, there are millions of families who have had to deal with an unexpected medical crisis, including yours, I'm sure, because cancer and illness do not discriminate. They don't care how fat your wallet is or what your zip code is. Everyone has been faced with some unexpected crisis that interrupted their life and destabilized their financial future, carrying the burden of caregiving, carrying the burden of sleepless nights, carrying the burden of debt unpaid, medical bills. But what upsets me most, please look at me, what upsets me most is the shame that people carry about that debt. So let me be clear to families throughout the country. The only people who should be ashamed of medical debt is the Republican Party, because they have obstructed progress for affordable health care at every turn. And then they rescinded the rule that would have given you some relief.
Would the gentlelady yield?
I will not. This is my time.
Would the gentlelady yield?
I will not yield. This is my time. And he's on his way out the door, and he needs to know exactly the harm he has caused. But the American people deserve to know.
Obamacare.
I will not yield.
It's Miss
Presley's
Presley's time.
Why are you speaking to me when I didn't yield to you? Direct your vote. You have gutted the CFPB. You have dropped settlements the CFPB brought against predatory companies that were supposed to provide relief to customers. $360 million to help people gone. Americans are in dire need of financial relief, but Trump and his co-conspirators, his cult of co-conspirators, are making life worse for everyday people. And I mean everyone, women, the disabled, young people, seniors, veterans, immigrants, and especially people of color who are most burdened by debt and predatory collection reporting practices. That is exactly why I introduced legislation to stop you from hurting people, like getting rid of consumer protections related to medical debt. The American public deserves better. They deserve better than you. There is not one good reason.
Okay, well, she went in on him, and not one single lie detected as far as I'm concerned, okay? Not one. These people don't care about the citizens of the United States. They don't care at all. And they darn sure don't care if you have medical coverage or not. Okay. And many of you may not know this, but the reason for those seniors and disabled people who are on Medicare, the reason Medicare only pays 80% and then there's a 20% that they have to figure out, that's because the United States didn't want Black people. Okay, didn't want Black people to be able to have free health care, didn't want Black people to be able to go to the doctor. And so this is how racist this country is. And they love to act as though we've taken such strides ahead, and we haven't. Okay, and even if we do, when we do take them, we go 2 steps back. So we're still really stagnant. But the thing is, they didn't want Black people to be able to go to the hospital. Okay, they wanted to make it extremely as difficult as possible, extremely difficult. And so that's why you have to have the 20% that you have to pay, even if you have Medicare. You know, quite frankly, if they weren't so racist, this country absolutely would and could have free health care. Okay? They could absolutely have free health care, but they don't want to because they don't want Black people to be healthy and all of that. They want us to stay sick. And this woman, I'm going to show you this video of this woman that came out and told us why they're so racist. Okay? Because it takes them to tell us about themselves. Please pay attention. I mean, we can figure some of it out from just watching and knowing the history, but at the end of the day, I always love when one of them exposes the rest of them.
State's speech about rigging of elections is laying the groundwork for them to try to figure out how to suspend the elections. They cannot afford to lose power or be investigated. What we've seen in front of our faces, the corruption, is a million times worse. There are mass graves of detainees that they didn't give medical care to. They're not giving those bodies back to the families. Families don't even know where they are. There's a complete detainee center filled of pregnant teenagers who were raped by ICE agents. Mark Wayne McMullen, Pam Bondi will go to jail and probably get the death penalty for allowing that. They can't afford elections. They can't afford to have Democrats regain power. This regime is going to fight as much as they can. And if by some miracle we have elections, why do you think they're having 6 and 7 federal judicial confirmation hearings with 7 of them all together who won't say who won the 2020 election? They give the same pat answers because they need those stooges in, because say we sweep the Senate, we sweep the House, the attorney generals have to certify those elections. And the state houses also have to certify those elections. If they don't, it'll go into the court. These courts are going to say, that's okay, you don't have to. And then it goes to the Supreme Court, and we know how that's going to end in the Supreme Court. This is not going to be peaceful. This is not going to be ethical. This is going to be violent, and it's going to change the fabric of who we are. November, stock up, arm up. This is going to be interesting as fuck.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. And those of you who you've been following me since 2020, you should know to be following your lifelines. Don't forget, like she said, stock up. Okay. Hopefully you already have been. Okay. The Truth Police says the scumbag Democrats had a chance to do something about that. Both political parties are garbage. Well, I have to agree to a certain extent that both political parties are garbage, because I think they're more interested in themselves and the money they can make than the public. But what I will say is the Democrats are not in power. The Republicans are. So they're limited on what they can do. You see, the Republicans, beloved, are in control of the House and the Senate. Okay, now that's why people need to educate themselves on politics so that you know what you're talking about and what's going on. Okay, you can't do anything when the Republicans are in control of everything for the most part. Okay, so with that all being said, I find it all interesting. They're going to be cheating like hell to try to win these midterms, or either trying to cancel them. Like I already told you all, this is why Trump wants martial law. This is why they have been trying so desperately, pay attention, to start a race war. Okay? They want Black people out there in the streets fighting. All right? That's what they want us out there doing, acting like whole fools, rioting and all of that. This is all by design. And I told you all this a year ago, and here we are. Okay? So at the end of the day, It's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. D Major says, I don't care that Democrats are racist too, etc. I am supporting them for election in 2020 and 26. Being butthurt isn't going to solve our problems. Well, D Major, let me just tell you, you're absolutely right. Because here's the thing. See, some people just don't get it. And thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Here's the thing. Both parties, like I said, they're both nefarious in my opinion, but only one of them doesn't mind giving us our health care and other things that we need. Neither of them have given us our reparations, which we clearly deserve. But the bottom line is Trump's administration is the worst of the worst. Now, these are the ones trying to literally take Black folk back to slavery by getting rid of all these laws and protections that we had. But I will say this, if the Republicans win the midterms, all the people who look like me, this is going to be the worst thing you've ever been through. And I promise you that. Now, you can believe it or leave it, but it's absolutely the truth. Okay, Trump and his administration need to be in prison. And they're only going to be in prison if they lose the midterms. Y'all sit there and don't vote independent, or just vote for them and let them win. It's just going to be so bad for all of us. I promise you, if they win, I think I might just leave this country. I don't have time for it. Okay, I don't have time for it. Truth Please said the FBAs are voting from the couch. Well, y'all can go right ahead, because y'all asses are going to be right back on the plantation. Okay, that's where you're going to be. You sit there and let the Republicans fool you if you want to, because like I said, sometimes you got to do what's in your own best interest. And sometimes, that might be even voting for a group that you don't particularly like. See, I don't have to like the Democrats. The only thing I want from the Democrats is what's in my best interest. I need my health care. I don't know about y'all. If you don't need your health care, if you don't know anybody in your family that does, anybody who has cancer, diabetes, sickle cell, or any of those things, if you don't know anybody like that, if you don't care about people who have those issues, then just go right ahead. Don't vote from the couch. Vote for the Republicans or whatever you choose.
So, hey, Boo. I just had a thought. One of the reasons white people hate Black people is because we cannot tolerate Black joy. We cannot tolerate Black intelligence. We cannot tolerate Black beauty. We cannot tolerate Black confidence. We cannot tolerate Black camaraderie. We cannot tolerate anything that frees a Black person. There's a level of racism that I think hits differently for Black people than it does for Asian people or Hispanic people or Middle Eastern people or Native Americans even. Each one of those things that people think regarding other races are different with Black people, I think. Because again, we don't like Black people to be educated. We don't like them to be successful. We don't want Black judges. We don't want anything for Black people that doesn't directly affect and entertain us. So we can have a Black nanny. We can have a Black house cleaner. We can have a Black teacher. We can have a Black coach. We can have Black players. But only for the specific things that we feel comfortable with. I think about all those sweet children that have been killed, murdered, when they go out with their white friends. And I think that as much as the trauma of slavery comes down through the DNA, I think also the cruelty of slavery, the desire to hurt, the desire to steal and kill and humiliate and torment and disappear Black people is what comes down through the DNA. I think when you do something like that for long enough and you pass it down for the many years that slavery and enslaved people were in chains, that is an instinct with us, cruelty. And I think you can see it in many videos. All the white women and white men that are telling Black kids and Black families to get the hell out of here, you don't belong. We just don't want you to have more than us, honey. We just don't want you to be prettier. We don't want you to be the beauty standard. We don't want you to be judges or anything like that. We want you to be below us, beneath us. And we've tried so hard to keep you down, and we failed so badly. Because like Maya Angelou said, still you rise. We may hate you, we may beat you, we may do those things, and it makes us crazy that you keep coming back and getting better. We can't stand it. I don't know why that is. I think I heard somebody say that white people are the ones that have the ancestors that were closely related to the apes. And I believe that. We are so similar to Cro-Magnon man, Neanderthals. We're fucking pale monsters. I really hate being white sometimes. I'm super ashamed. I think things like, sorry, I don't get good sleep right now. I think when I see a young Black kid with a bunch of white kids, or like I try to watch for things that are happening. And I was thinking to myself, if I saw a Black kid hopping in a vehicle with a bunch of white kids, what would I do? I mean, I could do anything. I could get the Black kid to come over and say, hey, I think I know your mother, come here. And then just say, you better get away from all them white boys. But I had a brown friend of mine tell me that that was silly and that it is savior-ish. Ooh, and I don't like that. White savior, white savior. Ugh. And then I still do it. I have it in me that Black people need my help. Mexican people need my help. Hispanic people need my help. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. If they do, oh, please forgive me. I'm so sorry. If they do, they'll ask. That's one thing. They'll ask. And I'll know instinctually if I'm out and about and something's happening. I can just pay attention and see if there's a way for me to step to whatever the white person is doing. I don't know. We'll see. I think the cruelty lives in us, and I don't mean it like we don't have a choice. Of course we have a choice, but it comes down as instinct. And unless we work desperately, unless we work very, 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 very hard for very, very, very many years, we will never be rid of it. We'll never be rid of it anyway. But anyway, that's my thought for whatever it's worth.
All right, well, bless her heart. She needs to get some rest, clearly. Okay, so, but she said the quiet part out loud. G from the land says, Queen, you told us this was going to happen. I remember. Yes, I absolutely did, beloved. Okay, I absolutely did. Okay, and thank you for being a member for 17 months, beloved. I appreciate you. Now, the truth, please said, and that's the trouble with Black people. We trust and believe everything they say. How about trusting and loving ourselves? Yeah, absolutely, we should love and trust ourselves and believe in ourselves, beloved. Now, what makes you think that Black people believe everything anyone says? That lady was just telling the truth. She was not telling any lies. But at the end of the day, I don't think that we're dumb enough that we believe everything that white people say, beloved. I don't think that some Black people clearly do, but I don't think that most Black people do collectively. All right? Collectively. With that all being said, what I will say is some Black people lack critical thinking skills, and they also lack logic and common sense. They think with their emotions, and that's going to be to their detriment. And we're all going to sit back and watch when it all goes bad. Now, with that being said, let's continue. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. And if you don't like what the queen is cooking, just leave. Just leave. Okay? Now listen to this thug here.
Minorities don't matter, and pretty soon the blacks will be slaves again, probably.
I'll fight and die before I become a slave.
Minorities don't matter, and pretty soon the blacks will be.
Yeah, he hopes it. Trust and believe. That's his dying wish, I'm sure. I'm sure that's his hope. Y'all know how many slaves they have in the world right now? Do y'all have any idea how many slaves they have in the world right now? Like 50 million. Okay? Seriously.
Black Africans. What you gonna do in North Africa?
Now, this is Libya, the slave trade in Libya. Okay? Rest in peace to Muammar Gaddafi. I hate they killed that man. But anyway, this is what's going on here. Please pay attention.
You come to our country to steal and you leave your country.
Just country.
These men are migrants with dreams of being smuggled to Europe by sea.
Excuse me, can I speak to you? We are going inside. Have a sit near place. Have a sit near place.
They come in their thousands from Niger, Mali, Nigeria, Ghana. It's hard to believe that these are the lucky ones, rescued from warehouses like the one in which we witnessed the auction. They're sold if those warehouses become overcrowded or if they run out of money to pay their smugglers. Of these rescued men, so many here say they were held against their will. It doesn't take us long to find victory.
Just take us home. No food, no water. Just take us home. Want to go? No food, no water, nothing.
Victory was a slave.
We know that some people are being sold.
Yes.
Some people are being sold. Is this
Yes.
something you've heard about? Can you tell us about
Sure.
that? Tell us.
I was sold.
What happened?
On my way coming, I was sold. Merciless beating. If you look at most of the people here, if you check their body, you see the mark. They're beating with electric. Even your boot, they took something like a sharp object. Understand? Most of them lost that.
It was an Arab man that used gun to hit my eyes. You see what I'm passing through. I can't ever tell. I don't just know. For those Arab people, we cannot tell. We just pray to God to save us, we Nigerians, another country from the hands of the Libyans. At least they should try their best. I've spent 2 years plus. But for me staying there now, it's close to 7 months. It was because of the sweat. On my body, I've got white. We have not taken our bath since 2 months. Just to bath, even to brush. If some people should open their body, they fix pipe inside their private part, pipe to piss. Tell some people to open their body. They should put their body for you. You will see that these people have finished us. Is it bullet wound? Is it the gunshot? Even when we are going to eat, they beat us. We are going in. We have over 150 Nigerians inside the place. And in my present night, 3 Nigerians were shot dead and thrown into a river in a place called Suleiman. The youth, they should get involved in politics. Me, I like politics very well. You should get involved in politics. If you are in politics, you can bring a change. All these people are old. These leaders are old. They don't care about us. Let's come together with the youth. Let's sanitize each other. Nigeria can be better through us.
Can you imagine if it was Americans being sold as slaves in Libya? Can you imagine if Europeans were being sold as slaves in Libya? Do you think they would wait for 3 weeks before they go and intervene? You know, so as black people, we have no dignity.
In this struggle, we must start to build it by building up our own cultural, spiritual base. I cannot imagine us trying to wage war or fight another country and using the same conventional means that they have taught us. It will not work.
Big strong boys for farm work, he says. 400. 700. 700. 800. The numbers roll in. These men are sold for 1,200 Libyan pounds, $400 a piece.
That migrants and refugees from several African nations are being intercepted and sold into slavery in the country of Libya. Libya serves as a main exit point to Europe, where the migrants are trying to escape to. Now, these refugees are reportedly being publicly sold and traded on the open market and being forced into labor camps.
Follow this page for more news like this. Thank you.
This is all so sad and just absolutely deplorable, okay? Absolutely deplorable that these things are happening. But as you can see, they are happening and no one's doing anything to stop it. So if that started happening over here, no one's going to help you either. Okay? Now, Conscious FBA says the problem with black people is other black people is disrespecting each other comes so easy. Yes, it absolutely does. I've been telling you all that for years. Okay? Black people can have 100 problems and agree on 99 of those problems, disagree on one. And that one thing they disagree on is enough for our people to start throwing each other under the bus. Like I tell you all the time, whereas white people can have 100 problems, disagree on 99 and only agree on one, but that's enough to keep them on code. Okay, black people just can't seem to do it. And quite frankly, I'm tired of trying. So let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Also, OG Patrice, you said to check my email, and I did. I just want to tell you, I already have that story, but thank you. I already have that story, beloved, and I'm going to talk about it this evening or at 12:30 when I talk about Nolan. Okay, so with that all being said, let's go to the next clip.
Black Americans, the goal is to make you slaves again. And I can't be the only one that sees this. If you look at the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, they're being repealed in reverse order. So where do you think this is leading? The 15th Amendment is the Civil Rights Voting Act. And a couple of weeks ago, parts of that have been repealed. You see, currently, gerrymandering is legal again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's taking away voting possibilities, and for those who can vote, it's not going to matter because of the gerrymandering. It's going to neuter the power of your vote. So that's the 15th Amendment. 14th Amendment. What is coming out of the White House right now? Birthright citizenship to be repealed is on the table. And it's going to be done under the guise of foreigners coming over here to have babies. So that's what's going to push it through. Well, we can't have these foreigners having babies and their babies are citizens because that's, they're not doing it the right way. Yeah, but they don't tell you that, that same birthright citizenship would apply to everyone. And it could be taken off the table for everyone, but it won't be, but it would certainly be taken off the table for Black Americans. And I think the trade-off will be, okay, y'all get back out in them fields and that'd be your citizenship. You can get citizenship if you get back out there and pick that cotton. You and your kids. You don't want to do that? You're deported. Oh, you don't know what country you're from? Oh, well, you're out of here. So that's the 14th. So what's the 13th? The 15th is being repealed. The 14th is about to be. It's already on the table. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery. That's going to be gone. I know people are like in this phase of they just don't believe in it. Nothing bad is going to happen. Oh, it's not going to get worse, or we'll the next election it'll be different. Do you know what gerrymandering is? It neuters your ability to vote. So already, if certain people won't be able to vote, then the people who can vote, they're going to be gerrymandered. Your vote ain't going to count. I can't be the only one seeing this, right? I don't hear anybody talking about this. It's so strange. So my question is, what are you going to do about it? Pray to Jesus? I see that as unwise because he'll do the same thing he did when your ancestors were slaves, which was nothing.
Honey, some people, unfortunately, are going to learn the hard way. Some of our Black people are so obtuse and they lack critical thinking skills, honey. They're going to F around and find out, okay? OG Patrice says, as much as I hate to say it, but Winston Churchill said, if we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. Absolutely. Okay, absolutely. And then people sitting here talking about they're not going to be slaves. Well, if they try to make you a slave, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What do y'all do about police brutality? March? What do y'all do about anything negative that happens to the Black community? What do? We really don't do anything but get out there and march and protest. And 9 times out of 10, this stuff keeps happening. So please don't sit here and act like y'all could not be put back in slavery, because I promise you can and will. Okay? If they want you to. There'll be nothing you can do to stop it. They have all of the weapons, the bombs, the military, and all of that. So please just wake up and stop being ridiculous.
Look at what this American got to say.
They proved it this week. The South won.
Oh, did they?
Mm-hmm. Because they can get rid of all the Black voting districts now, and minorities don't matter, and pretty soon the Blacks will be slaves again, probably. In a perfect America under John Roberts' Supreme Court and Brett Kavanaugh, they're all going to be. We're gonna take away all the rights of everybody that's not a white Christian.
Well, if that's the case, do you know this whole America is gonna get burnt down fast? All these major cities. If you think y'all gonna enslave all these people, knowing they ain't even going down like that. This cat right here, I don't know. He must know something that we don't know, because he brave and he said it with a straight face. So it don't seem like he bullshitting, but better get prepared, because people like this is the reason why this world is going to be messed up in the future.
Messed up in the future? It's actually messed up now, as far as I'm concerned. Going to hell in a handbasket, specifically in the U.S. Miss Battle says, so you mean to tell me you will let them make you a slave? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay? I will do everything in my power to fight against it. What I'm saying is some of you are too stupid, and so you absolutely will be the ones who are enslaved. Okay? I mean, it's obvious from your talking points. And I'm not talking about you, Miss Battle, but I'm just saying some Black people, honey. Okay, I'm a whole revolutionary, you see, and that's why I always do what's best for me and my people collectively. That's what I do. Some of these Negroes don't do that, and they don't choose to, and they don't think of us collectively. They only think of themselves individually, okay? But when the ish hits the fan, they'll wish that they had thought of themselves collectively with the rest of us, because we already know that only a remnant of our people will be saved. And the ones with no critical thinking skills nor common sense, they won't be. That's what I'm saying, honey. I could never be a slave, okay? I'm not that stupid, but plenty of our people are, sadly. That's right. Jonathan Toymaker said, foolish logic will not end well. Exactly. The people thinking with their emotions, they're just obtuse. Like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, you have to rise above emotions. And my thing is, if you don't rise above your emotions, you cannot raise yourself into a higher level of consciousness, which brings you into clarity. Okay? You don't have discernment. That's all I'm saying. Some of our people just don't.
Million Black people still in slavery in Muslim countries. Can you believe 27 million are still slaves? You don't hear the Black people raising a lot of hell about that. They just raised the hell about their ancestors. You don't hear the liberals trying to free them. They just try and keep those black voters in America there. But back when I was younger, boy, China did some human rights issues, and we were all up in their business about it. They had to straighten that stuff out. We were trying to get the whole world on board with this. We're trying to straighten China out with these human rights issues. And why aren't we doing the same thing with these Muslim countries to get them to stop slavery? Why do we allow it? You don't hear a peep out of America trying to squelch this slavery that's going on, full-blown slavery. And let me know what you think in the comments, but nobody says a word about it. They just let it keep going. What's the deal? Anyhow, like and follow.
Yeah, it's a sad day when white people are more concerned about black people being enslaved than black people actually are. Okay, shout out to him. FBA Justice, you are so crazy and nefarious. Talking about everybody black that's ready to give up, line up at the auction block. You're absolutely right, beloved. That's what they need to do, because that's where they're going to be headed. Okay? And it's going to be nothing the rest of us can do to help their silly selves. Please pay attention. Okay, thank you for that, beloved, and for your insight into the topic and your contribution. I appreciate you so much. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay? Hold on, let me go to this comment really quick. OG Patrice says, if you're old enough to know stories from your parents or grandparents, hold on, darn it, this chat's moving so fast. Okay, or grandparents, we're not that far removed, black people. Exactly. Okay, exactly. Conscious FBA says it was the Democrats who created the prison industrial complex, which is a form of slavery. And so it really hasn't gone anywhere. Well, I have to agree with you. It hasn't really gone anywhere. If you commit a crime, you can absolutely be put in prison, which is slavery. But, they wanted to where they can just make you a slave regardless as to whether you commit a crime or not. And I told you all 4 years ago that the social credit reporting system is coming here. And guess what? Okay, guess what? It's going to be here soon. By next year, please pay attention and don't say I didn't warn you, because you heard it here first. Okay, you heard it here first. I told y'all this 4 years ago. So, anywho.
People again. Put them back in chains. Hit the reset button so it can produce a greater group of people. So it can.
Now, this is Charleston White. You see, and we have plenty of black people who think just like him. Okay, we have plenty of black people who think just like him, and he is so obtuse.
Produce a greater group of people like the slave did.
How the slave gonna end? How?
Didn't you see what slavery produced, nigga? It was great people when they come out of slavery.
What you mean?
They were great people.
Like what?
They built Black Wall Street. They was loving. Their families was intact. They had skills. They wasn't violent. They didn't harm people. They didn't hurt people. Them people just wanted to be left alone and enjoy freedom. This group here hurt people, wake up to hurt people, look to hurt people. This group needs to be put in chains and separated from house nigga and field nigga again.
Man,
enslaved black people.
Now that's Charleston White. And do you all know that some black people actually support him? That's what I'm talking about. Some of our people just don't have any sense at all. Okay, at all. And it's just really pathetic. Now, with that all being said, hold on. I was looking for someone's comment. It was somebody's comment I saw that I wanted to read. Maybe I'll find it later. Anyway, let's continue. Now, you all heard what Charleston White just said, yet? Y'all heard what he just said, right? Now, do you all think that any other black person would be foolish enough to say what he just did? Okay. FBA Justice said, whatever is coming, we won't be voting our way out of it. It'll be settled in the streets. All right. Well, I'll tell you about settling stuff in the streets. Anytime we tried to settle something in the streets, the black people were always winning, right? The black people were always winning. So what did they do? Just like I told you all in Tulsa, they went and got the military and started dropping bombs. That's what they do when we're winning. Thank you for insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay. Let's continue. Because if y'all thought Charleston White was the only black person foolish enough to say such, here goes another one. His name is Officer Tatum.
Kirk said black men like you were better off during slavery. Do you agree with him?
Yeah, listen, 100%.
You believe 100%?
Now what?
100%.
Wait,
You were better
after
off-
slavery, let
So
me
you're
explain,
saying you
because
would
maybe
be
you don't
better
know
off
black history.
during slavery?
No. You don't understand black history, and you don't understand what Charlie was saying. Listen, after slavery, there was an explosion of success in the black community. We had Black Wall Street. We were married to the women we had children with. Black people had a tremendous amount of success. Our success was growing faster than white people during that period of time. Now look at us. Now go look at any inner city in this country, and you see people getting murdered every weekend. The leading cause of murders in this country is by black people. Violent crimes, black people.
Let me tell you something. Tatum represents the sellout of all sellouts. I challenge Tatum to have a conversation with me now, because I will obliterate him on it. What he's saying is that it's better when we were policed by white people because we can't police ourselves. But then he said we had the greatest cities, education, and marriage after we were free from that police or free from that slave master. What he's not talking about is the Jim Crow, the barrel of laughs, the integration that we tried to do that was a failure, the constant attacks by white people to black people, Planned Parenthood, redlining, all the things that the white man put in place to destroy black people because we were free. And when you oppress the people, the Bible says oppression make a wise man mad. And because we're going to oppress people, now he wants to make it seem like it's our fault. But when we were separated and allowed to build without the slave master over our back, we built the greatest cities. And really the white man was jealous. If Tatum had heart, he would have said the white man's jealousy continued white supremacy. But he won't say that.
Yeah, he won't say that. Ooh, I can't stand that man. He is so obtuse. Okay, he is so obtuse. He is the worst kind of black person that you can find. And I am so serious. Okay, please pay attention. Now, you all heard what's going on in Louisiana, right? And here's the thing. I told you all a few years ago that down in Louisiana at Angola Prison, which used to be Angola Plantation, they literally have to pick cotton.
Because most people have no idea, and they need to know this. In 2026, the Louisiana House of Representatives passed a House Bill 211. They're calling it the Streets to Success Act. But let me tell you what it actually does. If you are homeless in Louisiana, if you have nowhere to sleep and you sleep outside, that is now a criminal offense. You can be fined $500, you can be sent to jail for 6 months, or you can avoid jail by being sent to a government-run camp where you perform labor for at least 12 months and you have to pay for it. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds kind of familiar because in 1865, right after emancipation, Louisiana passed something called the Black Codes. Those laws made it illegal for free black people to be unemployed, homeless, or without a fixed address. If you got arrested, you were sent to work for a white landowner to pay off your fine. They call it justice. History calls it slavery by another name. Louisiana repealed that vagrancy law in 2020. The legislators who repealed that said, and this is not a direct quote, "We don't want to keep laws on the books that were designed to prevent free slaves." That was 6 years ago. But now they're back. Same target, same punishment, different name. But here's the constitutional problem. The 8th Amendment prohibits cruel and unusual punishment, and federal courts have already ruled you cannot jail someone for sleeping outside when they have no shelter to go to. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery and involuntary servitude, forcing someone to work in a camp unpaid as punishment for being poor. That is not rehabilitation, that is forced labor. And the 14th Amendment guarantees equal protection, but this law literally punished people differently based on whether or not they have a house. They didn't build one shelter, they didn't fund one housing program, they just made it illegal to be visibly poor. Governor Landry already showed us who he is. Before the Super Bowl in 2025, he sent armed agents into New Orleans to round up homeless people and put them in camps so rich tourists wouldn't have to see them. HB 211 is just making that permanent. This is not about safety. This is not about success. This is about removing poor people from the public view and putting them to work. Listen, share this video, tag your people, look up HB 211, call your Louisiana state senator if you're in the state. And if you're not, pay attention, because this same template is being pushed in the states across the country. History doesn't repeat itself. We repeat it. And right now, we have a choice. And so you will know here are the main people pushing this. Republican Debbie Velo, author of the bill, former prosecutor, chairs the House Committee on Criminal Justice. She wrote it, named it, and pushed it through. Governor Jeff Landry, a Republican. Landry supports the bill and has cited President Trump's policy on homelessness as justification. He has already signaled his intention to sign it into law. And of course, President Donald Trump. Trump issued an executive order to expand drug courts and mental health courts, which critics said has enabled states actors to use force against homeless populations rather than actually help them recover. The bill passed the Louisiana House 70-28, meaning 70 Republican representatives voted yes. It then cleared the Senate Judiciary C Committee with only one dissenting vote, Senator Regina Barrow, a Democrat from Baton Rouge. So yeah, share this video, stay informed, and I'm going to keep you updated.
Only one dissenting vote, a Black Democrat. Isn't that sad? Isn't that so sad and pathetic? Ooh. This is all nefarious. Now, with that all being said, let's continue, because here's the thing. If you want to know what slavery would look like in 2026, they already have it laid out for you. Let me just tell you a little bit about it, okay? You wouldn't be out here picking cotton necessarily, but slavery today would be high profitable crime rather than a system of legal ownership. Globally, nearly 50 million people already are trapped in forced labor, okay? And it contains or includes commercial sexual exploitation, forced marriages so that people can breed. Traffickers exploit modern technology, social media, and global crises to prey upon the marginalized, impoverished individuals. Now, what they're doing with those people in Louisiana is going to start happening everywhere. If you remember, I told you all about this months ago, about 6 months ago, how they were building those homeless encampments and saying that homeless people can come there to live. They're not saying that it's illegal to be homeless, but what they're doing is making things that homeless people do illegal, such as panhandling, such as sleeping outside. It's now illegal for you to sleep outside in some states. And so what they do is they have these encampments which they built, and they tell the homeless people, you can voluntarily go and live there and stay there, but you don't get to come and go as you please. Okay, you have to work. And then if you don't do that, they'll just put you in jail. Okay, so that is slavery. But also what many people don't know is something else that I reported on about 6 months ago is what they're doing to foster children who have not been adopted by anyone. These foster teens are being placed in juvenile detention centers, even though they're not criminals. Why would you put these children? It's not their fault they don't have parents or guardians to come and care for them, but they're putting them, and you can look this up, but they're putting them in juvenile facilities. This is literally creating criminals, making them criminal minded, because they're going to have to fend for themselves in there, with real criminals. And even though this is for teens, a lot of these people are nefarious, and they're in there for nefarious reasons, such as murder. Okay, so, and why would you put them there? Well, because they want to bring back slavery. So here's the thing. It'll be forced labor. Millions toil in agriculture, logging, mining, and manufacturing. Okay, the workers and those in conflict-ridden areas are disproportionately targeted, generating roughly $150 billion in illicit profits annually. $150 billion. Okay, please pay attention. Now, they put them in something called debt bondage. Workers are often trapped by fraudulent recruitment fees and arbitrary debts, forcing them to work under threat to pay off impossible loans. These are all things that they want in the United States that are happening in other places. Commercial sexual exploitation. Criminal networks use the internet, fake job ads, and illicit chat rooms to force millions into a massive percentage of children, okay, having a massive percentage of children and adults into sexual servitude. We call that human trafficking. It's basically the same thing. Okay, they have state and corporate exploitation. So state-imposed forced labor exists in countries with the highest number of enslaved individuals, including India, China, and North Korea, coming soon to the U.S. Okay, history, memory, and battles over freedom. Public remembrance of the past is also contested. Okay, for example, recent legal battles saw the removal and replacement of slavery exhibits at the President's House site in Philadelphia, sparking major public debate on how the country's origins are taught. You see, they don't want you to be looking at stuff that's already happened in the past with slavery, because they want to slide you right back into it. And if you have these constant reminders, then you may peep the game or the plot and plan that they're up to. Okay, and this is all about the rich people. Okay, this is all about them getting the cheapest labor they can find. Now, the thing is, there are some organizations like the Anti-Slavery International, okay, that try to go against these things. But I'm just saying, be prepared and don't say that I didn't warn you. All right? Don't say that I didn't warn you. Like, sub, everyone, please like and share.
Now than it was when Martin Luther King marched when I was a kid. The Civil War was something that no one could do anything about, because the whites, quote unquote, whites from the South, are not the only ones that had slaves. Slaves are all over the world. Slaves still exist today.
Do you think there's a direct effect from slavery to how Black Americans are able to live today?
No, I don't. They have a chance to learn. They live in the best country in the world. If they open their eyes and listen, instead of just focusing on their little area and people that they hang out with, they would learn a lot.
But from what you said, it sounds like you were born before the Civil Rights Movement.
Oh, yeah.
So Black people couldn't buy houses in your lifetime when you were maybe a
I'm
baby.
well aware of that.
You were 5. So you don't think there's any downstream effect?
I felt depressed at that time.
Yeah.
But that's what Martin was trying to correct. Right now, I see so many people living off the government handout.
I'm pretty sure welfare use per capita is higher in red states than blue states.
Yes, but there's so many people living off of the government handouts. And that is not that much farther away from slavery. They were a slave. They were given housing, food, clothing, medical care. The people asked them to work. Yes, there were landowners that were violent and mean to some of them, but there were others that were humanistic.
Now, she sounds real crazy. How can you be a humanist when you're sitting up there having whole people, okay, treating them like animals and all of that? Like, please make it all make sense. Absolutely crazy. That's also why they're trying to get rid of many of these jobs. Okay, that's also why they're trying to get rid of so many of these jobs at the end of the day. They have AI taking over so many jobs that you wouldn't imagine that AI would be doing, because they want people to be broke and poor. And also, don't forget that I reported to you all months ago, well, actually sometime last year, how BlackRock is purchasing most of the single family homes. BlackRock is trying to purchase all of these homes because they don't even want us to be able to purchase homes to have any sort of private property. They want us to have to rent everything from them. And all they have to do is raise the rent so high that you can't pay it. And then the next thing you know, you're homeless. And now you're about to be in one of those camps. Let me put an overlay over this just in case.
They were founded in 1925. If you add up everyone who's ever gone to a New York Giants football game since 1925, that's 50 million people. That same number of people, 50 million people, are currently trapped in slavery. That's 50 million voices that are crying out, but not in celebration, but in desperation. 50 million cries for help. And they can't go ignored.
But sadly, it looks like it's going ignored. Doesn't seem to be anyone doing anything about it. Okay? Now I want you all to hear what this lady says. This lady is so stupid. And unfortunately, she happens to be Black. She is such an idiot. Okay. I hate to even give her any, airtime, but you need to know what she says. Robert says, Queen Ahmadiyyah, I just entered the chat right before Charleston White spoke. Can you kind of catch me up? What are your views on us going back to slavery, descendants of freedmen? My views, I've been expressing that throughout the broadcast, beloved. Okay. Some of our people will willfully go back into slavery, and some of them will try to fight against it, but it's going to be too late because they'll already have given the people permission to enslave them. Okay. By things that they do or don't do. Now let's listen to this knucklehead here.
And to me, slavery wasn't a bad thing. In fact, I think we should bring back slavery. But this time, the slaves got to actually be the slaves. Truth be told, it was the white people that were slaves here. Don't get me wrong. Yes, you did have some Negroes working because they thought they was going to get the house and the wraparound porch and all that shit. Sherman wrote about this. And what I mean by slavery, because we still in slavery technically. We still in slavery. It's just like a different form, like same shit, different scenery type of timing. When it comes to employment, I prefer the old slavery. When you live on a plantation and shit like that, and you get hand-me-down shit. I know I would treat my slaves very well as long as you listen and you are very obedient. But please, and to me, slavery wasn't a bad thing.
Now I want you all to sit there and take a look at her. Look at her. Songwriter Sonny said her ignorance is a side. I absolutely believe it, beloved. Okay, but just take a look at her. Who in the hell does she think she is? Sitting there condoning the enslavement of anyone, no matter their race or ethnic group. No one should be a slave. And she sounds so ignorant. And she literally thinks that if slavery was to come back, she would be an owner. She thinks that if slavery were to come back, she would be an owner. And who would her slaves be? And how would they look? Absolutely crazy. Okay, Jay Gray said her head wrap is on too tight, cutting off her circulation in her brain. Okay, something's not right. Sounds like a whole idiot. Like I said, these are the kind of Black people that I don't deal with. Okay, I cannot. I absolutely cannot. But let's continue. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. We're almost out of here. Yeah, Gregory, it is so stupid, right? Make it all make sense. Now, I like this man right here. I told you all the gingers always be coming out with the truth. Not always, because some gingers are nefarious, but most of the gingers always are spitting facts about their people. Pay attention.
I hear a lot of white people talking about other people's communities. It's very confusing when our community is full of mass pedophilia, mass shootings, violence against women, environmental destruction, things like that. How about we focus on our own community before we try to drag other people through the mud? Okay, bye.
I have to agree. He said focus on your own community before you try to drag other people through the mud. Okay, no lies detected. Okay, no lies detected. Let's go to this clip right here. This doesn't have anything to do with slavery, but I just think you all should know, because many of you don't, how they did our people that fought for them.
Do you know about the black soldiers the U.S. Army executed, only to admit 106 years later that they had never received a fair trial? They were known as the Buffalo Soldiers. In the summer of 1917, members of the 3rd Battalion of the 24th Infantry Regiment were sent to Camp Logan near Houston, Texas. America had entered World War I. The soldiers were preparing for war, but before they could fight for their country overseas, they found themselves fighting racism at home. Houston was deeply segregated under Jim Crow laws. Black soldiers were regularly insulted, threatened, and harassed by white civilians and police officers. Then everything exploded. On August 23, 1917, Houston police violently arrested and beat a black woman named Sarah Travers after entering her home while searching for a suspect. When Corporal Charles Baltimore, a black soldier, asked what had happened, he too was beaten, arrested, and humiliated by police. Rumors quickly spread through Camp Logan. Many soldiers believed Baltimore had been killed. That night, more than 100 black soldiers seized their rifles and marched toward Houston. Gunfire erupted across the city. By sunrise, 19 people were dead, including civilians, police officers, and soldiers. The nation was shocked. The army demanded justice. But ask yourself this: could black soldiers expect a fair trial in Jim Crow America? The answer would change history. The army placed 118 soldiers on trial in what became the largest murder trial and one of the largest courts-martial proceedings in American history. Many of the accused had no meaningful opportunity to defend themselves. Some shared legal representation. There was no meaningful appeal before the first executions. Then came the verdicts. 10 black soldiers were convicted. 19 were sentenced to death. On December 11, 1917, the first 13 soldiers were secretly hanged at Fort Sam Houston in Texas. They were executed just one day after their sentences were approved. The executions were carried out so quickly that even President Woodrow Wilson had not reviewed the cases. The Army later changed its own rules so future military executions could not happen without higher-level review. But it was already too late for those men. Years became decades. The soldiers were remembered as criminals. Their families lived with that stigma for more than a century. Then something remarkable happened. Legal historians and researchers re-examined the trials. They found serious problems with how the cases had been handled. Finally, on November 13, 2023, 106 years after the Houston riot, the U.S. Army officially set aside the convictions of all 110 soldiers. Army Secretary Christine Wormuth acknowledged they had been wrongly treated because of their race and had not received fair trials. Their military service was restored as honorable to the extent possible. Justice did not come in their lifetime. It came more than a century later. Their story reminds us that correcting history can take generations. But even when justice comes late, the truth still matters. If this is your first time hearing about the Buffalo Soldiers of Camp Logan, comment "first time." This is Histora.
Okay, that's just a darn shame. May all of those soldiers rest in peace. And here they have the nerve to come back 100+ years later. This is what they do, though. This is absolutely what they do. I think this video is on Rumble. It looks like I'm going to use an overlay just in case.
Look, I just want to make one thing clear. If you're here under temporary protective status and you came in this country between the years 2021 and 2025, you're gone. If you overstayed a visa, you're gone. If a state illegally gives you a driver's license or a social security card because these left-wing states are trying to create voters, you're gone. You're not legal. If anybody came here outside the legal channel of legal immigration in any way, shape, or form under Joe Biden, he broke not only constitutional, but also immigration law in order for you to get here. You're not here legally. The whole claim that this man up in Maine was not the subject of the deportation order and he was here legally. Well, there's two things about that. If he wasn't the subject of the deportation order, then why the hell was he trying to use his car to run into another ICE agent? Just like Renee Good. If he really wanted to be alive today, if he really wanted to be a father to his 3-year-old daughter, then guess what? He wouldn't have done what he did. He wasn't the subject. They weren't chasing him. He injected himself with his 3-year-old daughter into that situation, period. When you're told to do something, especially if you know that you are not here legally, you comply with lawful orders, period. And I want to tell you something else too. If any of you are in this country overstaying a visa or came in under Joe Biden or came in just walking across the border or sought asylum, you're gone. And if you think that President Trump ordered the DHS to come after all of you in his first 2 years, wait until these midterms are done and you're gone. You're all gone. We are not putting up with this anymore. We're coming for you. And if you put yourself in a situation where you or others could get hurt, then more than likely that's going to happen. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. You live by the gun, you die by the gun. When you are given lawful orders, what makes you think that you have the right to say, no, I'm not getting out of the car, or no, I'm not leaving? We Americans have to follow laws and lawful orders, and so do you. You don't just get the right to say, no, ayúdame, ayúdame. You're gone. Get that through your thick skulls. I don't care if you're from South America. I don't care if you're from Africa. I don't care if you're from China. I don't care if you're from Europe. I don't care if you're white, green, black, blue, or purple. If you do not belong in this country, you are gone. We love legal immigration. We need it. But these are hardly the immigrants that came over on Ellis Island. We're coming for you.
Now, there goes a whole lot of tough talk, and I want you all to pay attention because this is what Trump has done. He has emboldened these whole thugs to think they can come out and set the standard or the rules or tell people what they should and shouldn't do. I mean, he was talking like he had some sort of authority. If one didn't know any better, you might think that he was part of Trump's own administration, right? Because he sounded like he was trying to lay down the law, okay? But see, this is what we need to get rid of. Okay, we need to not have people like this just trying to talk trash. And that's all because Trump's in office. And Trump needs to get out of office. And his nefarious administration needs to be locked up and put in prison. Because that's the only place that they belong. Okay, that is the only place that they belong. And that's just the fact. Now, let's go to this next clip. Texas representative calls out white leader during DEI hearing. Funny thing about DEI is white people actually benefited more from it than we ever could, specifically white women. Okay, but you know, people who don't read, study, or research wouldn't know that. So they automatically, when they hear DEI, associated with Black people. You know, these MAGA memes are so asinine. They don't think critically. They don't do research. They are just not smart. And this is why they believe the lies and BS that Trump continues to spew to them. This is absolutely why. But now it looks like we have some of our own Black folk spewing the same foolish talking points at the end of the day. It's just all so sad and pathetic. Okay, but let's continue.
Black workers are far more likely to be unemployed as white workers at almost every education level. True or false?
That is true.
So do you just believe that Black people are more lazy or aren't as good at applications? Why do you think that data is the way it is? If a random white person in this country and a random Black person in this country go to get their home appraised, right? Why is it that the Black person is much more likely to get a lower value on their home appraisal?
Because they live in a different neighborhood.
Okay, great. We'll get to that in a second because that's wrong. Black people in this country were enslaved for at least 240 years. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and after slavery ended, you had about 100 more years at least of Jim Crow and legal segregation, where government at the federal, state, and local level blocked Black people from owning land, from getting bank loans, from living in certain neighborhoods, from attending certain schools. All of that happened too, right?
Yes.
Okay, so my question to you is simple. Name the year that the playing field became completely even. I want you to give me a date.
I mean, if you're looking at
for home loans, you brought. I think we talked about home loans and appraisals. For home loans, what year did it become equal?
Well, according to the DEI movement in 1991, when they imposed disparate impact.
So you're telling me today that if a Black person goes and applies for a home loan, they have the same likelihood of getting accepted for that loan as a white person does?
If you're asking me a person that lives next door to another person, if one is white and one is Black and they go both apply for a loan, do I expect different outcomes? No. And if there are, then it should be enforced under discrimination laws.
So you're talking about rules, I'm talking about outcomes. So let's play a game of true and false. And let's start with wealth disparities. The median net worth of a white household in this country is $285,000. The median net worth of a Black household is about $45,000. True or false?
I don't know.
Okay, you came here as an expert today in a DEI hearing and you don't know that? Basic facts about wealth accumulation in this country? All right, let's go.
And see, this is what I'm talking about. This man has this authoritative position and doesn't even know what in the world he's talking about. But they want to talk about DEI and try to blame it on Black folk who are clearly educated, okay? He sounds like he's DEI. But let's continue. I find it awesome.
To the next one. For every $100 in wealth held by white families, Black families hold about $15. True or false?
Again, I don't know those specific numbers.
Okay, well, I have data here. It's true. So we know that the answer here isn't just that black people believe in saving less than white people do, right? It's that government in this country has put one set of folks in a better position to succeed than other people. And it was the law for a very, very long time. And it became ingrained in our institutions. Government was part of the problem. And so it has to now be part of the solution.
I mean, that just goes to show, to further prove white privilege. That man was clearly not qualified for his job, okay? Clearly not qualified for his job. But let's talk about ICE. And then and I have like 2 more videos and then we're out of here. Now listen to this. So the last person killed by ICE was 26-year-old Johann Sebastian Guerrero, also known as Joan Sebastian Guerrero or Joan Duran Guerrero, a Colombian national. Now, he was fatally shot during a deportation operation on July the 13th of 2026. According to ICE agents, according to ICE, agents attempted to stop Guerrero as he drove from a residence, and an officer fired his weapon, claiming the vehicle was used as a weapon to flee. Well, you know, that's always what they say. I don't know if it's true or not, but they love to say that. That's the same thing they said about Renee Nicole Good. Okay, they say that about black people all the time. They said that in the case of Cohen Wiley down there at that Walmart. I think it was in Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. But anywho, so they go on to say that he tried to use his vehicle as a weapon, claiming the vehicle was used as a weapon to flee. State officials and human rights advocates have launched investigations into the incident, as Guerrero's family and local representatives stated he had legal work authorization in the United States. Okay? And so this actually occurred just 6 days after an ICE agent shot and killed Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, a 52-year-old Mexican immigrant during a traffic stop in Houston, Texas. May these people rest in peace. I mean, look, it's no need to be out here just taking people off the map, just taking people's lives, okay? Just because you don't think they deserve to be here. Like, that is so darn low down and dirty. All right? And I don't believe anything that ICE or Trump says. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share.
This Trump supporter is finding out the hard way. Josh Smith runs Montana Knife Co. He voted for Trump, probably thinking that America First would help small manufacturers like him, but instead, he just got hit with a $77,000 tariff just for buying a machine from Germany that he literally can't get in the US. He really thought the guy who's bankrupted multiple casinos was going to help him and his small business? What a moron. Only 2 companies in the world make a blade grinding machine that he needs, and they're both in Germany. Thanks to Trump's EU tariffs, Josh has to pay an extra 15%. But wait.
So you mean to tell me this man voted for Trump and had to pay $78,000? You see, that's what he gets. I told you MAGA's not smart at all.
It gets better. He used to buy his steel from a US-based company in New York, but that company went bankrupt, and now his steel comes from Sweden. And you guessed it, Trump slapped a tariff on that one too, to the tune of 50%, starting next year. Dang, Josh, you just can't stop winning. And to be honest, I thought this whole thing was about buying American first. Why aren't you just manufacturing the machine you need, Josh? Sounds pretty easy based off how Trump puts it. If Trump loved small businesses so much, then why is he putting in so many policies that make it harder to stay afloat? Seems to me like voting for the guy who's never had a successful business in his life isn't going to care about saving or helping yours. This pro-Trump immigrant is finding out the hard way. John Lupton Smith is a businessman who believes in making things in America. He was born in South Africa and is the founder of Electric Bicycle Co. in California. He built custom e-bikes and was a supporter of Donald Trump, believing the president's tough-on-trade stance would protect U.S. manufacturers like him. He thought Trump would save the day like Superman. Instead, Trump snapped away his business like Thanos. A guy who's an immigrant and could very well get deported and runs an e-bike company decided to support and vote for Donald Trump. What an idiot! The tariffs meant to help American companies ended up turning his into dust. The cost of the Chinese parts he needed for his bikes skyrocketed from 25% to over 55%. While his competitors found ways to skirt the tariffs, Lupton Smith played by the rules, trying to build a quality product in Newport Beach with a team of 40 workers. But he couldn't compete. After 14 years in business, his dream company filed for bankruptcy. Now Lupton Smith is devastated and out of the manufacturing business for good. He's pivoting to a new venture focused on e-bike safety. Quite the change for a man who wanted to build a long-lasting American factory. This kidnapper in Washington found out the hard way. Jerson Hartman, a 31-year-old man from Idaho, put on a mask and tried to grab an 11-year-old girl in Vancouver. According to court documents, the girl was playing soccer when he walked up to her, making her uncomfortable before grabbing her by the elbow and saying, "Come here, little girl." He also took a cell phone she had right out of her hand. And his actions were a big mistake. She slipped out of his grip, screamed she was being kidnapped, and when he told her to shut up, she kicked him. Really, really hard. Right in the nuts. While he was the one now screaming, she grabbed her phone back, ran away, and called 911. Police reports confirmed she had red marks on her wrist from where he tried to pull her away. She said she was terrified of what he was going to do. Police found Hartman, and when they searched him, he was in possession of a white crystallized substance. Now he's in a Clark County jail on a $50,000 bond. He's being charged with kidnapping, robbery, and illegal substance possession. This sick freak got a swift, hard kick of justice. And he got to meet Fafo. If convicted, he could face life in prison. This pro-life mom in Iowa found out the hard way. Jessica Jukanovich is a conservative Christian, pro-life, and a mom of 4. She found out she was pregnant, but at 10 weeks, doctors discovered her fetus had trisomy 18, a severe abnormality they called incompatible with life. Multiple opinions confirmed the fetus would sadly not survive. Jessica started to develop chest pain, swelling, fatigue, and kidney issues. She says, "I had a fetus in me that's poisoning me from the inside out." But when she sought care, she was turned away. Doctors at multiple Iowa facilities told her, "Sorry, our hands are tied." One told her to miscarry at home. Another suggested she look online for help, aka look for a blue state to flee to. Her husband, Milan, said they were cornered by the government. What? Cornered by the conservative Christian government you guys voted for? No way. After over 2 weeks, Jessica finally got treatment. She says, "Where's the pro-life in that? We're completely forgetting the mother in this situation. At no point should a dying fetus have more precedence in a healthcare system over a healthy mother who's contributing positively to society." Really? We are forgetting the mother? Who's we? You voted for and support the politicians that write the very laws that forget about mothers. And of course, Jessica is now speaking out in videos saying, "This isn't what we voted for." It's really every single time with conservatives, isn't it? She couldn't care less about other mothers. It only matters now because she was severely harmed and almost unalived. Jessica Jukanovich voted for pro-life politicians. Now she knows how much value her life has to the pro-life movement. None. This Trump supporter with an immigrant wife is finding out the hard way. For nearly 3 years, Al Raymond and his wife Gracie were following every rule of the U.S. immigration process. They went to what they thought was the final appointment, hopeful it was almost all over. As you could probably guess, Gracie was taken into ICE custody. Hey Fafo, is voting for Trump when your wife is going through the immigration process a special kind of stupid? Yeah, it is. He's now spent over a month without her, and he even started a GoFundMe, where it's revealed that Gracie tragically suffered a miscarriage while detained. Al is heartbroken, begging for handouts, and begging for his wife to be released.
A darn shame, but what were they thinking? Okay, what were they thinking, honey? Earth Angel Remix says, "Great podcast. Nature is working wonderfully." Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Thank you for your kind words and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Honey, this is all nefarious, but sadly, it's only going to get worse before it gets better. Lord, please don't let the Republicans win the midterms, okay?
Understand this. I say whatever I want about a less than mediocre white man. And I want to talk to you about Jeff Bezos, a man worth over $260 billion, a man who pays a lower effective tax rate than his own damn secretary, a man who just told us what he really thinks about the rest of us. Now, there's a quote going around, supposedly from Bezos, saying that water for AI should be prioritized over water for human beings. Sometimes you have to prioritize the intelligence that will save us over the biology that slows us down. Wow. Now, fact checkers say he never said it. The quote is fabricated, But here's the thing. It went viral because it felt true, because it's exactly what we expect from billionaires who think they're fucking gods. And now they know it. And let's talk about what he actually said. Bezos recently went on CNBC and told the world that the bottom half of earners in America, people making around $54,000 a year, should pay 0 federal income tax. And honestly, I don't disagree with that. Working class people are getting crushed. A nurse in Queens making $75,000 a year is struggling. I've been there. I've been on food stamps. I've had government health care. That's not the part I take issue with, though. Here's the part that made me sick. When asked about taxing billionaires like himself to pay for things, Bezos said it wouldn't help working people. He dismissed the idea that taxing the ultra wealthy could make a difference. A man worth $260 billion looked at a system where he pays an effective tax rate lower than a grocery store cashier and said, no, that's not the problem. He wants to eliminate taxes for the bottom half, which sounds good, while offering nothing to replace that revenue. No plan for healthcare, no plan for housing, no plan for education. Just don't make me pay more. He literally compared himself and his for-profit companies to a bulldozer for someone digging with a shovel. He thinks he's saving civilization. He said his companies create more value than his charity ever could. The arrogance of the wealthy is just breathtaking. We have the K-shaped economy right now. The rich getting richer. The rest of us fight over scraps. Bezos wants credit for telling us we shouldn't pay taxes on our scraps, but he won't let go of a single dollar of his hoard. The false water quote went viral because it exposes a deeper truth. These billionaires think they are the future. They think we are just obstacles. They think our lives are biology that slows them down. And they say it with a fucking straight face. Don't be fooled by the performance of wealthy people. He is not our savior. He is not a bulldozer for our benefit. He is a symptom of a system that has to be fixed. The house always wins, but it doesn't have to. My name's Ahmad, and I talk shit about less than mediocre white men with too much fucking money.
All right. Well, he said what he said. Okay. He said what he said. Okay. So anyway, with that all being said, honey, Donald Trump is ruining the economy and clearly ruining America. Okay. And some people are going to absolutely F around and find out, beloveds. With that all being said, listen, my work here is done. I will be back for the next broadcast at 12:30. I just put the link back in the chat for anyone who missed it. So with that being said, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hate